Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to Learn How to See Better. And today, what I'd like to talk to you about is a cool little concept that might just be the thing that you need to help kickstart your week, especially on a Sunday evening. That's when a lot of folks start to get, that pain in the pit of their stomach. And you start wondering why it hurts so bad because you're looking at the week ahead and you might be diving into something that you're not necessarily passionate about. But whether that's you or you are excited looking forward to the week ahead, I would suggest that you grab a pen real quick and take a couple of notes on something I want to share briefly. It's a concept that I call reflect and project. And it's a real simple concept. It's pretty much like it sounds. And it's a way to put some positive bookends around your week. Okay? It's a positive way to put some good bookends around the week and also help get the new week started on the right foot. So what do I mean by that? Well, first, by the time Sunday rolls around, chances are you've had all weekend to kind of relax and get the stresses off your mind from the week and maybe hang out and get some social time with friends or family, or maybe just some time for solitude just to decompress. But the fact of the matter is, we as human beings need to be able to process everything that goes on in our lives. Typically, that's done at nighttime when we're sleeping. That's where we're kind of processing the events of the day, right? Well, what typically will happen is if we either don't get enough sleep during the week, or we just aren't taking the time to kind of process consciously what's been going on. We're leaving it all to happen overnight. And, many of us don't get enough sleep, or we get sleep that's interrupted. So it's not like you really get a chance to charge the batteries all the way like you tend to do on the weekend. So one of the great things about a Sunday evening is you can take a moment to say, okay, what did I accomplish this week? Where did I go? Who did I see? What did I do? What were my intentions? And what were my results? Because if we can honestly take stock of our intentions and compare that to our results, we'll get to see, pretty much how we scored, right? Is there a delta between, the potential energy and the kinetic energy, the intentions and what actually took place? And what you'll find is if you start to measure that a little bit, things that we measure will improve, right? If you start to take a walk around the block, or you run a mile and you get a certain time, so you can run a mile in 10 minutes. If you have any plans to run a mile again anytime in the next 30 days, you might be inclined to see if you can beat 10 minutes. No different than if you can run a 7-minute mile or a 6-minute mile or a 5-minute mile, right? Because once we start to measure it, we get a feel for where we're at, and that helps us try to understand where do we go, moving from here, moving forward. So when we reflect on the week that's gone by, we can say, what did I accomplish? And you're just documenting. You're just documenting. This isn't the part where you try to get all emotional, like, I had 28 things to get done through the course of the week and I only finished 12. Time to cry in my drink. No. This is just a document. And once you are able to extract from your mind your actual accomplishments, put it in black and white, put it pen to pad, put it on the paper, then you can see it and you kind of divorce from the emotion. It's just a page full of facts. Now, we can choose to focus on those facts in a certain way and have either faith or fear about those facts and, have a positive outlook or a negative outlook, but they're just facts at that point. And once you've got them documented, you can really start to see, what does this data tell me? Because really at the end of the day, it's just feedback. You see what I mean? So once you've taken a moment to reflect on the events, on the experiences, what they meant, and just kind of make sure you didn't let it all just slide by you in a blur, because life moves fast. If you don't take a second to take a time out and catch what's going on, you know how they say, you might miss it, right? So it is critical importance in our quest to learn how to see better that we take time to reflect. What went on? What has happened in my life in the past short chunk of time? Typically at the end of every week, but you can do this even on a daily basis, right? Best time to start the day is when it's finished. Best time to start the week is when it's finished. But we're talking about this, doing it on a weekly basis, because on a weekly basis, you are going to have some series of events take place where you can say, yeah, that was actually rewarding, or that was disappointing, and that was notable change in my world. So we want to be able to reflect so we can capture that and encapsulate it in the appropriate way, because it can either drive us or set us back, right? It can inspire us or frustrate us. And both of those feelings will drive more action. Action cures fear, right? It's the great equalizer. So you've got to be able to reflect. And that's what I encourage everyone to do, is to take the time to reflect, at least on a weekly basis, of what's going on in your world. What are your interactions? What calls did you need to make and you dropped the ball? Put those on the priority list for next week, which is a great segue into the second part of this, which is project. Reflect and project. So we got the reflection part down, right? Now projections are a little bit different. It's not as simple as just saying take all your unfinished to-dos and shove them into the week ahead, right? Because sometimes the stuff that didn't get done didn't need to get done, and maybe you just thought it needed to get done. So don't try to get it done if it doesn't still need to get done, because you just got more than enough stuff to get done in the first place. When you project at the week ahead, you're taking stock, you're using an input from the reflection. How did you process that information? And you're going to have a certain ability to say, knowing what I know now, with a clarity of vision, hindsight is 2020, with clarity of vision on my past 7 days, how do I best look ahead to the next 7 days to say, what am I going to do to create 7 days from now a great feeling in my heart of accomplishment and progress and success? And the way we do that is by projecting. Identify the things that need to get done, that you want to get done, that have to get done, and appropriately prioritize those. Block off time. Make time for yourself and self-care. Make time for loved ones, family, friends. Make time for your grind, right? And keep everything in its proper perspective. But the key thing here is to make sure you just identify a handful of very important things that you want to make sure that you accomplish, so that by the end of the week, if it's Thursday, Friday, and you haven't quite knocked them out, you still have a little bit of runway left to go get her done, right? So what I'm excited to state is that I've personally used this methodology to be able to accelerate the progress in my own weeks, because once we're tracking it, we can that much more effectively say, you know what, I've seen over the last 2-3 weeks, I say I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I do a good job on X and Y, but Z always slips through the cracks. Why is that? Then we can take a little bit deeper and understand that, you know, maybe Z is not that important. Maybe Z is just a little bit too much right now. Maybe X and Y are maybe X and Y are gobbling up all your time. Maybe X and Y have chewed up 95% of what you've got to give, and it's okay that Z is not the most critical. Maybe you tackle Z every other week. But when you project on the week ahead, you have a better ability to do so if you've been reflecting. Because every time you project, you kind of cast that net out there to say, hey, I'm going to go forth and conquer these things. You set that almost as a goal. I wouldn't call it quite the same as a goal, but it's a good intention, and that paves the pathway for some positive energy to flow and to bring you what you are looking for. So it's very critical that we project as well as reflect. It's a great way to put positive end caps on the week that's past and look at the week ahead. So hopefully you guys found some good value out of that. I think this is something that's significant, but very easy to implement. So don't be discouraged by this. Granted, you can take it a step further and get into some very powerful meditations. A lot of times what I find when I converse with people is that they don't meditate. It takes too long, right? I thought I had to like go off on a mountain for an hour and a half and you know, sing songs and chant and all this other stuff. No, it's not even that deep. But to keep it super basic, keep it super simple, start with a reflection. Spend 3 minutes. Spend 5 minutes. I mean, if you used to watch ESPN, they could run through the plays of the week in like 3 minutes. You could run through the plays of your week in that same time. So the same way we'll stay as sports fans glued to the set to watch the highlights in sports for 3 minutes. How about tuning into the highlights of your own life? And if you're not finding enough highlights in your own life, great. Go ahead and document that, reflect on it, and capture that, and capture the feeling that goes with it. And if you want that feeling, project that. Set that stage for the week ahead so you can go do something more grandiose. Go do something great. Go do something that pushes you and encourages you to do more. Do something that excites you. Get that blood flowing again, right? So reflect and project. That's the theme to this little post here, and hopefully many of you were able to get some value out of it. So if you're catching this, whether it's a Sunday evening or you're just getting your week started, this could be a great way to kick things off, maybe even a late in the week reset. You can reflect and project. And that's a great way to get ahead and be able to process all the data and the information from your activities. And I think it is a fantastic way for you to learn how to see better as you look to accelerate your success. So until next time, everyone, go out there and reflect, and don't forget to project. Thanks. Catch you soon.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.